शान्तमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः. भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः. स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः. व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः. स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः. स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः. स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः. स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Verse number 6. Verse number 6 from the first chapter. Yattadadreshyam agrahyam avarnam agotram achakshushrotam tat apanipadam nityam vibhum sarvagatam susukshmam tad avyayam bhutayonim paripashyanti dhiraha. You know, just for information, if you are having any online issues, just log out and log back in. If the frame is freezing or if you are not hearing, etc. This is something, a default thing to follow. And of course, if that also doesn't work, migrate to this live stream. Okay? Yeah. Nityam, that's where we had stopped. Nityam means, literally translating means eternal. That's what it means. Here it's indicated to not have a connection with time, timeless. Because even our concept of eternal is greatly jeopardized and limited because we conceive of the eternal with regard to time alone. That's our problem. Yeah. It takes an eternity, meaning it takes a long time. That is what we think. So here, the endlessness, we have to look at it because of the placement of the word, and I will comment on that shortly. We have to look at it from a sense of an endlessness rather than, eternity. Endless in the sense of limitless. Why endless? Because we had another word, agotram. What is agotram? Beginningless. Yeah. So this Brahman is described in verse number 6 through a number of words. They seem discrete words, just a bunch of words strung together. But really speaking, they have a connection there. Each word is being choice picked, you see, hand picked, and each word reveals something about Brahman. And then it connects also to the previous words. That's why it is hand-picked choice words. It's not some random group of just words strung together, They have a connection to what went before. Like agotram, beginningless, nityam, endless. So the end is negated, the beginning is negated, So if the beginning and the end are negated for whom? That means what? Timeless. Means that which always is, that which always was, that which always will be in the same form without undergoing any change whatsoever. That changeless, timeless is indicated by these two words, coming in close juxtaposition. And also I told you last time, Nityam, because all these other words were starting with adrishyam, cannot be seen. But I love to see Brahman, I just want to gaze at it once. Sorry. I can't even say look in the mirror, because what do you see when you look in the mirror? The body, correct? And of course, at any given time, of any given day, one will have 1,000 complaints against one's own body, correct? Oh, this is not looking right. It's a bad hair day, it's a bad face day, it's a bad this day. So many problems. It's just a bad day. Poor day, what did it do? It just dawned. What is its fault? Nothing. But this is the complexes centered around the body. And then, I cannot even say look at the mind, because the mind already is, never mind. Don't even talk about the mind, because already I have a problem that in the last class what was taught I don't remember. And sometimes I don't want to remember. So, this is the whole, this is our bread and butter, so what to do? I want to gaze lovingly at Brahman. No, you're talking about the moon, not Brahman, That which cannot be gazed upon is Brahman. Why? The gazer is Brahman. So gazer gazed, there is already a contradiction. It cannot be the same thing. The seer cannot be seen, gazer cannot be gazed. And then other things were also negated. Can I hear Brahman? No. Achakshushrothram, that which cannot be, it's not an object of hearing. And neither does it have ears and eyes, both were negated. And apani padam cannot, it does not have hands and feet, so it's like a snake, it crawls along. Well, that is what is going to be told later, sarvagatam, it is all pervasive without needing to have hands and legs, because hands and legs indicate a lot of running around in place. Yeah, that's all it is. Everybody is running in place to gain something or the other. We don't know what, we don't know when, we don't know why, but there's a lot of treading water that is happening. So the first portion negates all these things that we naturally look upon as a thing in itself. Because when I want to grasp a thing, these are the attributes I'm looking for. It should be available for the eyes, it should be available for my paws or claws, and then it should be available to smell, to touch, to taste, and it should be available for inference. If not any of the above, it should be available for inference, because this is how I'm used to knowing objects. But Brahman is not an object. Why? Being the very subject, being myself alone, it is not subject to objectification. So none of these things work. So after negating the first, this is a typical Upanishadic trick. And what is the Upanishadic trick? Is that first it negates what it is not, because my mind is focused on, noting things in the same way that I have objectified all other things. So naturally the orientation is to have something solid to have and to hold Brahman, This is what I want to do. But so therefore all those attributes which I look for in every other thing is negated in the definition of the thing which makes every other thing, thing. It gives the definition of the word thing to every other thing, because it is the thing, it is not one more thing, it is the thing because of which all things are called things. Something, So how else to talk about it? Because actually the word vastu means thing. Sanskrit word vastu, means that the only existent thing because of which other things, because of which a vastu is mistaken for vastu. That is the thing. Every other thing is avastu. Vastu means thing, avastu means what? Nothing. Naturally. Yeah, this much Sanskrit I insist everyone should know. A means negation. Even in English, a means negation. And whenever the a negative particle, a or un, same in English. Kind, unkind. You see? Yeah. Except in Sanskrit, un is for vowels. Un is negation for vowel starting nouns that start with a vowel are negated by un. All others by a. Sanskrit is a little more predictable. That's all. Here, kind, unkind, same thing. And a is also a negative particle, even in English sometimes. And so therefore what? Avastu means nothing, vastu means thing. We are oriented towards looking at all these so-called things in the world by certain criteria. And those criteria is the first criteria is, of course, it should exist. It should exist. Correct? That's the first criteria. Otherwise, how can it be called a thing? Like the horns of the rabbit, how can it be called a thing? But horns of the rabbit do exist in my imagination. Well, it does not constitute a thing. That's why if you start imagining things, then what do you have to do? Go to the hospital, of a special kind. And because you're imagining things that are not there. So avastu here, what are the criteria for something to be called a thing? First it should exist. Then if it should exist, it should be knowable, right? Because otherwise, how do I know it's a thing? It should be knowable, at least by inference. Okay, dinosaurs. How do I know dinosaurs were a thing? Because they became extinct. It's no longer a thing. It's an X thing. Because they became extinct. And so if it's an X thing, that means what? There is evidence because it existed. A dinosaur existed and it is knowable. How is it knowable? I can go to the museum and there are skeletons and unhatched eggs. All these things are there, Raptor eggs are there, fossilized, and then dinosaur bones are there, carbon dating is there, and so through all these evidence of existence, correct? So two things should be there in the criteria. Two criteria for something to exist. It should be, for something to be called a thing, it should have existence and it should be knowable. These two things should be there. Now, when I interrogate this existence a little further, then I come upon some tangled webs. Because if I say that if I start looking at the existence, I find that the existence of all the things that I have come to call a thing or the thing are non-things. We have done this. We did this last time also in relation to the flower. Flower is? Yes, is. But anything that is, becomes is not. Especially if I hold it like this, very quickly it will become is not, is not. So this is doesn't quite belong to the flower. Is means exists unconditionally. Is the word for unconditional existence. The is that becomes superseded by was, right? That is not unconditional. That becomes a condition. Is but wasn't earlier. So then that is has to be qualified by so many other conditions. But when you just use the word is in the sense of the verb to be, is unqualified, is unconditional existence. Does this flower have unconditional existence? Anybody knows? That's not true. Correct? So then, the flower is not the source of the unconditional existence. So that's the first criterion for flower to be called a thing which is now on shaky ground. It is a thing, but it's a truncated thing. A thing that is punctuated by ifs, buts, commas, semicolons, dashes. Yes. So anybody making a dash for the flower, thinking it is the thing, has to stop in their tracks, because it's a thing, yes, but ... because that ... says a lot, you know. What is that? What does it say? It says that this thing that I call a flower, its thingness is in question. Why? Because it is not an unconditional existence. The flower has a cause. Even if we take a relative cause, the flower tree or the bush is the cause. The flower, is not an uncaused cause. So its existence is dependent upon something else. That is what I am saying. It's a conditional existence. A conditional existence means two things. That it is not always there, and that its source is elsewhere. Yeah. It's not always in the same form, and its source comes from other than itself. So the flower is not self-existent, is it? If it was, then it would be saying flower oham. It is not saying that. What is flower oham? It's like saying soham. I am flower. It does not have the capacity to broadcast it itself. Here, once I was teaching this very thing. Where was it? In San Francisco. And then a person in the audience raised their hand. I said, can it wait till the end of the class? No! I have to have the answer now. Okay, what is it? How do you know that the flower is not self-existent? And everybody else said, yeah, how do you know? Because the flower, this is California thinking, the flower, because everything is a thing in itself. That's what we all think. So the flower has its own language of self-existency, if that's a word, self-existence, that it is broadcasting at a different resonance. And just because you, who have the ego of thinking and saying that you are the only self-existent idiot available in the universe, you have the temerity to say that the flower is not self-existent, that it is not broadcasting itself. How can you say that? Actually, I was not using flower. I was using pot at that time. Yeah. Pot, flower pot, all one and the same, So how can you say that this is non-existent? Not non-existent, non-self-evident. Because the pot could be broadcasting at a certain frequency. Like like I said last time, the pinging of that Malaysian plane, it went under the water. So they think. They are thinking a lot of things. Some people think the aliens took them, took the whole plane. Conspiracy theories abound. But anyhow, if you look at it scientifically, they found a place where the last broadcast was heard. So maybe this is a pinging pot. It's a self-evident ping. Aham, 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 I am, I am, I am. If it is saying that, then, why do you say that this is inert? Because if I can't understand it, if I cannot see it, if I am not, because are you self-evident? I asked the questioner. Yes, I am. I am self-evident. So, if you are self-evident, are you able to stop something which is inimical coming your way? Are you able to duck a stone that is coming, an avalanche? Yes, I can get out of the way. I can do this, I can do that, because I'm aware of myself, and everything around me becomes evident to me. So, if somebody sits on you, are you able to say, oh, yes, because I am self-existent, self-aware? But then if you sit on the pot, it doesn't say, oh. But how do you know it's not saying it in some other language? Because that kind of a inference is based on, that kind of a thought is based on many sources of self-existence. That I am different from the pot. And only when I am different from the pot, then it can have its own broadcasting self-evidence, which I cannot understand and which is different from me. We don't, the Shruti, the Upanishad, which reveals that oneness of everything, does not subscribe to numerous sources of self-evidence. There is only one source that is self-evident, and it happens to be you. Oh, then poor pot. Pot is also not separate from you. That is what ultimately is going to be shown. You are not the pot. You haven't gone to pot. Yeah. Thank God. You are not the pot. You are that adrishyam, agrahyam, avarnam, agotram, achakshushrotram, apanipadam, tat. That is what you are. You are that which cannot be grasped like the pot is grasped. That itself shows it's not self-existent, because otherwise you will not be able to see the pot. If the pot was self-existent, you will not be able to see the pot, because it's that same you. You're not able to see you. You would not able to smell the pot and say that this is the smell of clay. You're not able to hold the pot. You're not able to play with the pot. You're not able to do anything with the pot. Infer the existence of pot from hearing how it sounds. You're not able to do that because it is self-existent. Self-existent means it cannot be objectified. Simple. And if the pot is broadcasting in some other language, that means there is a problem with seeing this oneness. There is a problem, there is a block there. And that's why I said California thinking, because there is the feeling, it's there kind of in the West Coast also. Not a bad thing, but when you carry it to the extreme, especially for the sake of this knowledge, in the terms of this knowledge, there are some unease, there is some dis-ease that happens in the way the knowledge sits. It's fine to say that anything goes. It's fine to say that you have a right to your opinion and I have a right to my opinion. It's fine to say that in our society we have to make room for everybody's opinion. Fine. Be tolerant. Be be totally udara. Udara means what? Generous, accommodative. Be generous, be accommodative. But where to be accommodative? You have to stop the accommodation when somebody says 2 plus 2 is equal to 7. Oh, but let's be accommodative. Let them say it is 7. Let them say it is 7, yes. Especially if they happen to be your in-law. What else are you going to do? You have to see them at holidays. You have to sit with them at the same dinner table. And you have to talk to them. And why do I say in-law? Because you cannot get rid of them. Other people you can say, I'm not coming to the party where this person 2 plus 2 7 wala is coming. I'm not going to be in attendance. You can say. But here you have to. You can't choose family. So the person is a fixture in your life and happens to be saying what? 2 plus 2 is only 7. I wish it was 8, but it is 7. And you try to, bring some, 2 pieces of chocolate and then another 2 more pieces of chocolate and then say count. And what do they do? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is how they count. So if this is how they count, you somehow have to tune them out so that they don't count in your understanding of the world. Correct? Yeah. Accommodation has to stop when the evidence flies in the face of this accommodation. And the evidence for the oneness is indeed this verse, and is indeed this Upanishad that is revealing something that I cannot know on my own. That is why it is a means of knowledge. That is why it is called a pramana. Pramana means proof. It's a means of knowledge. That is how it has to be seen and handled. Really, there is no other way. But, what but? You started the class with but and you're still butting in the class. No, but how can this book, which is, few pages, along with some dude's commentary, this is the Purva Paksha. Yeah. Shankara dude, this is how the Purva Pakshi will talk. We are still in California. And, some fellow wrote a commentary. And then what? And he wrote, okay, he was ancient. Let him be ancient. Let him be as old as the hills. I don't care. And he wrote a commentary. And then before the commentary also some words were there. Unseen, unknown, all these things. Unknown it wasn't there. But this is what my own conclusion is. Okay, all these words were there. Why do I have to accept this as the only way to understand myself? Why do I have to do that? Why can't this be a place of contention? Why can't I contest the Upanishad? Why can't I sue the Upanishad? I have a battery of lawyers and prove it false. Yeah. What kind of lawyer would I engage? I suppose it would have, not corporate law, no. I suppose it would have to be some kind of intellectual property rights, that kind of a person. Who knows? It would be even ridiculous to think of suing the Upanishad. But sue the Upanishad because it promised happiness. It promised freedom from fear and grief. And guess what? It hasn't given it. I'm still mad and I'm still sad. So therefore, this Upanishad is not a means of knowledge. It's very easy to put it down. Literally, put the book down and say, this doesn't work. This really doesn't work. Who knows what it was made for? And then the California thinking becomes a nice umbrella to which to go under. Upanishad is for a few misled people here and there. California included. Few misled people for whom they have stopped thinking. That's why they have gone to the Upanishad. Or they just, they are that intellectual type. Now we typeface the people. These are the few intellectual types. This is what people say. And in India, a new kind of a Purva Paksha, a new kind of an objection is being raised. In the sense that, if somebody is studying Upanishad and Vedas, other people ask them, so have you had some sad things happen to you in your life? Sad things. Why? No, because you're studying Upanishad. Meaning only when you have had some sad incidents, then only you go to ashrams, then only you study the Upanishad. This is something I encountered recently. So if you're sad, that means you are a candidate for the Upanishad. Because antidepressants did not work. And so therefore you went through the Upanishad. This is ridiculous. This is very, very sad. That is in fact sad. So here, the whole question of understanding, looking at this verse from the standpoint, looking at this mantra, and especially at the word Nityam, from the standpoint of the Upanishad being a means of knowledge, is very essential. And what do we mean by means of knowledge? There is no way of intuiting yourself, the nature of yourself as free of sorrow, fear, grief, etc. How are you going to intuit it? Intuition means what? Oh, I had a sudden stroke of insight. I knew I was all one. Is that insight or is that a fact? That remains to be seen. No, I just feel it. And there are ways of knowing it. Why do I have to know it? Why can't I just be it? You are always it. No, but I want a special experience based on the fact that I'm all one. So I want this oneness experience. Oneness experience you're having right now. How do you know I'm having this experience right now? Because you are. Every day you're having this experience. Just go to sleep. Oh, you're insulting me. You're saying right now I'm asleep. That's one meaning. So here, the thing is this, that in sleep there is always oneness. It is just a oneness that is not cognized immediately. It's only cognized in the aftermath of it. And it's a oneness that is not understood. The oneness, if it has to be manufactured by contacting the object of desire, that's one common way of manifesting the oneness, that I become one with the object that I love. This is a stand-in for not seeing that I am already one with the subject, which is nothing but love. That I am nothing but that love that I seek by encountering objects which please the eye, or rather which bring out the pleased eye. That's what it is. That I want to be pleased in all situations, and I don't know that I'm already pleased in all situations. Why? Because the raga and dvesha, the likes and dislikes, overpower and truncate this person's experience of the world, which makes everything discrete. All objects are discrete. Brahman is also one more thing to pursue. Therefore, it has to contest with all these things. It has to have a contest, a competition. And that's why frequently people say, I don't have time for Brahman because I'm doing something else. This is the problem. So therefore, seeing that this oneness is not something to manufacture, it already is, and then it already is you. That is why you are the only thing, really. Why? Because I exist. Unconditionally I exist. And I'm not talking of the body-mind sense complex. I'm talking of that which inhabits the body-mind sense complex, which is an unconditional existence. It may take on bodies and it may not take on bodies. It makes no difference. It is an unconditional existence. And then I said it's the second criteria for something. It should be knowable, correct? And this is knowable. This unconditional existence is knowable. How is it knowable? Are you here?
Yes.
Oh, that's how it is knowable. When you say yes, I am here, what you're saying is yes, I know, I am. That's what you're saying. I am, I exist. And then I know, that knowability. I know, what do you know? I know I am. Nobody says I know I am not. You cannot say that with a straight face. I know I am. I know I am. Aham, aham, aham. I. When I say I, that I know is built into that I. Even if you say I don't know, what are you saying? I am, I know, and I don't know this particular thing, a discrete object in place at this particular time, I don't know. But that overall I know that I don't know pervades, prevails. So you see, those are the two criteria for anything to exist. It should, anything to be called a thing. It should exist, it should be knowable. These are the two criteria. And the only thing that fulfills these two criteria is I, which is Brahman. That's all. And this, this I is self-revealing. Yes, I know I am. But then what? Then why do I need the Upanishad? You said the Upanishad is a means of knowledge. Now you are going back on your words. You said you need the Upanishad and you need the commentary. And then what? And then now you are saying, I know I am is enough. And if I know I am, then why do I need the Upanishad? Because that I know I am, if I don't know what I am, you have to insert a little what. I know what I am. How many people can say yes? I know what I am. I know who I am. Everybody cannot say yes. Correct? And so therefore, you need the Upanishad. One needs the Upanishad. Because the answers that do come when you say, I know what I am, are wrong answers. Everybody fails the quiz. Because the answers that come is, I'm an idiot, I'm small, I'm finite, I'm subject to death, I'm subject to aging, body dharma, mind dharma, I'm subject to forgetting. I can't see, I can't hear, I can't eat, I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm fat, I'm thin, I'm tall, I'm short. I have a sense of lack. I lack this. Me plus this only is equal to completion. I'm incomplete. I don't like myself most days. And then I don't have this, I don't have that. I wish I was a little more, richer. I wish I had a few more things. I wish the house had a few more rooms. I wish the mind had a little more space to remember a few more things. I wish there was one more rose bush in the garden. I wish I was this. I wish I was that. This is what the answers come. What are you? I know I am, but what are you? These are the answers that come. And they are wrong answers. How do you know they are wrong? Well, it's a very simple test. Do you like these answers that come?
No.
Say no so we can proceed.
No.
Universal. You can ask anybody. You can go to, some unpronounceable place somewhere in the middle of, Africa or China and ask them these conclusions based on the I. Do you like these? Do you like them? Do you own these up? No, I don't like them. I think I am these, but I don't want to be these. I want to get rid of them. Universal. This has nothing to do with, Hinduism or any ism or religion or whatever. It has something to show, something for as long as one is a human being, something for humanity based on a timeless quest. This is what it's about. It just happens to be, coming from the scriptures, that's all. This is what it is. And then you ask everyone, the same people you asked, you have another group of subjects and ask them, what do you want? Okay, you don't want to be all these things. What do you want to be? Happy, 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 not subject to death. And if I don't know I'm already not subject to death, the only place to go is Florida. Why Florida? All the plastic surgeons are sitting there. Of course, they should be where the aging population retires. Makes sense. Yeah. Because I don't know that this timelessness is there, that it is me, then I will go through some drastic measures to avoid death, to avoid all these things which make me appear close to death. Because there is this fear of endings. And the fear of ending is itself a hint that that fear is a superimposition on this I that is deathless, birthless. That's what it is. So the fear of endings itself shows I don't want to end. And this is common across the species. That's why all the bugs bite you when you're not looking. Because a small bug, mosquitoes, etc. Bed bugs. Yeah, this is another problem in America now. Who would have thought, Yeah, people in India, when the news came out that America is infested with bed bugs, they just had a hearty laugh. People thought, here the Americans call us third world countries. And there you have to be afraid to check into any hotel because there are bed bugs. But these bed bugs are very interesting. And they have intelligence. They have such intelligence. It is amazing. So you go to sleep. And then something bites, and then something is sticky, it's your own blood, it has drawn blood. And then you quickly switch on the bedside lamp. How long does it take on to switch on the bedside lamp? Not very long, it's right next to you. Right next to where you're sleeping. And then you look, it's gone. And then you switch it off. Oh, maybe I imagined it. Okay. Maybe an old scab that got reactivated. And then again, now 2-3 different places simultaneously, you're not imagining it. Again you switch it on. Gone. All of them gone. It's almost like they have a tiny pair of binoculars or whatever it is, and one of them is a sentry, and it calls out, okay, boys and girls, get under the coils of the mattress. Go under right now. Gone. As soon as it's switched. What does it mean? Because it wants to survive. Nothing wants to die. That's why it uses subterfuge. An octopus literally puts ink on your face so that it is not caught. Usually everything is caught in its tentacles. When it's about to be caught, it just puts a smoke screen. And then certain other animals like skunks have other drastic methods to not be caught. Because catching means eating. That's what people have been doing, predators, So if it's caught by another predator and it smells so bad that the predator, has vairagya towards the prey. This is what we want. This is what the whole nature is based on this desire to be. And how are you going to know that you are that which never comes to an end? Is there a way of knowing? Can you have an unending experience unendingly? No. In fact, you are already having that unending experience unendingly when you say, I am, I am, I am, I am. In fact, that itself is a meditation. I am, I am, I am. Because each time you say I am, you are actually saying one more thing. I know, you are already saying, I know, I am, now. Aren't you saying now when you say I am? I know, I am, now. I know, I am, now. I am, now, I know. Now I know, I am. Now I am, and I know. I know, I am now. This is I am, Sat. I know, Chit. Now, Ananda. Now is always Ananda. I know I am now, Satchidananda, 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 Satchidananda. Because the now can never be a place of sorrow or fear. Are you afraid now? Don't take so long and make me afraid, okay? Are you afraid now?
No.
Now?
No.
Just because I change something doesn't mean that you have to feel incapacitated. Usually I ask, are you sad now? And everybody knows the question. Today I changed it. Are you afraid now? No. Now?
No.
Now? Ooh, I'm afraid. Even if you were to say that, I will say that was then. That now is not now. Now, Ananda. Now is a place of no sorrow, no fear. So when I am in the now, I know I am, then there is no fear, no sorrow. You cannot stumble upon the knowledge because I am. I know what? This is what I cannot stumble on because what I am stumbling on is my own nature, what I am trying to stumble on. And the stumbler, cannot stumble. There is a kartru karma virodha, a contradiction between the object and the subject. Everything else I can objectify except aham, which is the subject. So really speaking, now coming back to the definition of the thing, this is the only thing which happens to be I, which I know I am, which is self-evident, self-revealing. I don't have to go to the neighbor to find out if I exist or not, and then which happens to be timeless. This is the only thing that is being worth called a thing, according to the Shastra, according to the teaching. Every other thing is a no thing, because not that it doesn't exist. We cannot call this flower non-existent. But this thing, this so-called thing, depends on the original thing, because the isness of this flower goes back to I. That's why the first letter of is
I.
simple. Yeah, that's how to remember. The isness is borrowed from the I. This flower shines in borrowed light of my own consciousness. Borrowed floodlights from the endless floodgates of consciousness. The consciousness doesn't become small because it has lent its existence, so to speak, to the flower, and it has lent its sentiency or existence. It does not become small. That's why the same consciousness can lend its existence and sentiency to all bodies, all minds. It can bless and light up without undergoing any kind of a sankocha, constriction. Like even the sun can light up all the parts of the globe, all the parts of the solar system, without feeling that, oh, too much light is being taken away from me. No. The sun can shine on all parts without feeling that I am expending too much of myself. I will literally burn out. No. It doesn't have to do that, at least not for millions of years. So the idea is, this is what the idea is, that I, the thing, the only subject which is worth being called a thing in terms of the two criteria we talked about, that's the only thing there. And every other definition of the word thing is a borrowed thing, because the isness is borrowed. And the knowability is also borrowed, because the knowability rests on me. I know this flower, so the flower becomes an object. It is not self-revealing, it becomes an object. I am the subject. Flower is an object. Everything in this world, only this one, only self-revealing consciousness can objectify. It can objectify everything except itself. And here there is no need to go into the doldrums. Why? Because what about itself? It doesn't have to objectify itself. It is self-revealing, therefore it reveals itself, reveals everything else. This is the meaning of the word nityam. And there is no other way to know this except through this teaching. You cannot intuit it. So the teaching becomes a pair of eyes to see this which I cannot know by myself. But why can't I know? Because your own infrastructure is getting in the way. That's why you cannot know. You already are the whole, but you feel incomplete. One is already happy, one feels sad, one is already fearless, but one is afraid of death. One is already complete, but one feels self-judgmental. So for these reasons, one's own infrastructure comes in the way of knowing. Therefore, we have to rely on a means of knowledge, on a pramana, on a means of knowledge that will help me to see what I already am in a unique way by removing all the things I am not, by removing the ajnanam, the ignorance centered on the I. So really speaking, the teaching is not a brainwash. It's not a brainwash. Like some kind of a, cultish set of beliefs. How do you know it's a cult? Because there are specific beliefs. You have to believe those if you want to belong. Like those, what are they called? What were they called? Munis. You have to die together because there is no purpose to this life. Our purpose to the life is afterlife. So let's hurry up and get there together all at once so we can all, form a condo association in heaven. We can all live together just like we are living now. So what's wrong with living together now? Why can't you continue? No. We have to do this. How do you know you cannot be happy here? Don't ask questions. You have to subscribe to the belief that afterlife is the real life. See, this is a cultish belief. And what do I say by a cultish belief? It's against logic. You can believe something beyond logic, okay. That there is a heaven, all right, let there be a heaven. That you have to die to get there, all right, let me die first, then I'll find out. That is all beyond logic. But you cannot believe something that is against logic. That there is a heaven and it is eternal. I cannot believe that. Because that which is eternal cannot be outside of me. Cannot be a place, a specific place outside. That is against logic. It's making a mockery of one's ability to reason and one's intelligence. That eternity is somewhere situated in a location. This I cannot believe. You can swallow a pumpkin, that's easier. Just give me 2 more glasses of water, I can swallow it. But this is not something I can, subscribe to. Hell is eternal. How can there be 2 eternals? One is heaven, one is hell. How is that? And they both are specific locations. Eternity has no location and it has to include me. And eternal suffering cannot be suffering, because what is suffering? The body I have left behind here, it is 6 feet under. And then there is one devil stoking the flames and, and then I'm going, who is this I that is going into the flames? What is subject to the flames? The body that is subject to the flames I have already left behind, or it has already been subjected to the flames and cremated. There is nothing more to talk about. This is something we have to see, because this is not something against logic. What the Upanishad is trying to say is not against logic. It is beyond logic, yes. Because logically speaking, the body dharma becomes the dharma of me. Dharma means attribute. So the attributes of the body, attributes of me, they're the extension of the logic. But really speaking, this is not against logic. Why? Because it's in keeping with what I want to be. Don't forget that. Don't reject the Upanishad, because it is really revealing what you want to be as that which you already are. Let's never forget that. Because this is like cutting off a limb upon which you are sitting. So this is not a brainwash. A brainwash is something when you are asked to believe something that is against logic, which you have no way of disproving, which you have no way of proving either, and which has nothing to do with you. It is all beliefs about certain things, and some based on some promises, which depend upon certain actions and whatnot. And this kind of a fare we have been dealt with life after life after life, in the form of organized religions, in the form of cults, in the form of parental promises that were not kept. Doesn't matter. These promises are always there, but here the Upanishad distinguishes herself from all these things by it is not promising you something that is outside of you. That is its beauty. It is revealing you. It is revealing you as that person who you always want to be. It is revealing what you want to be. It is revealing what you desire. It's revealing the truth of all your hopes, desires and dream. I hope to be happy. It says you are already happy. I hope to be free of fear. You are already free of fear. I desire so many things to become complete. You are already complete. I desire to be free. I have a notion of bondage. You are already free. So it's not promising something outside of you that you have to gain in space, in time and through some effort. Space, time and effort are all swallowed because it is revealing something that is already a self-existent fact. How do I know it's a fact? Because in sleep I have no problems. Correct? Yeah. I have no problems. I have no complexes and no problems. What happened to the credit card debt? Gone. What happened to all my grouses against the significant and the others? Gone. No problems and no complexes either. Because even a very highly trained musician, when the musician goes to sleep and has sound sleep, does the snores come in different notes? No. If the person were to record the snores and listen to them, they would never go to sleep again. Yeah, they would be horrified because this person is, very tone conscious and note conscious. They will never snore always in C sharp. Yeah. In fact, the snores will sharply differ from any, consonant harmony. Nothing, it will be full of dissonance for this musician. Correct? Yeah. No shruti in the sleep. No, shruti means a harmony. No harmony. That itself shows there is no complex. There is no self-judgment. That's why it is so difficult to wake up in the morning for these bhashya classes, 7:30. Because one wants to go on sleeping. And one wants to continue sleeping because it's a problem-free area. A time period which has no problems. And when the Upanishad reveals that you don't have problems even when you are awake. Other people may have problems because you are awake, but you don't have problems because you are awake. That is what I want to know. This is in keeping with what I want to know. This is in keeping with what I already am. It is revealing the truth of me, which I already sense vaguely. And the vagueness is removed. Which I have a doubt about this self. Am I happy? Am I sad? The doubt is removed. Oh, I'm in the doldrums. This is an error. The error is removed. So this is not an indoctrination. This is not sort of drilling the brain with a hole. Sometimes they have to do that. They have to, if there is too much pressure, they have to drill. Of course, you cannot put the person out with anesthesia. You have to find out, okay, has the leg stopped working? Okay, it's time to stop drilling. This is how they do it. It's not drilling some new thing into you that you have to really believe devoutly, and then with this devotion, the belief will somehow come to be. How can that be? How can you be something that you're not? This is revealing what you already are. By removing the shell of encrustation of all kinds of wrong information that I already want to get rid of. So it is in my nature to want to be happy. It is in my nature to want to get rid of sorrow. This is the two premises upon which the Upanishad unleashes on the canvas of my buddhi. That is what it does. That's what it does. It's not some religion that is indoctrinating something that you are not. It is simply showing something that you already are. And what are you? Nityam. Yeah. I know. I am. And what is this am? Now. And now also you are? Now also I am. Now also I am. Now. I am. Even when I lose the capacity to say now, I am still in the now. Even when I lose the capacity to say I am, I still am. And in fact, I'll be thinking, I'm so sad I cannot say I am now. But I am. I am now. Sat, Chit, Ananda. I am Sat. I know I am Chit, sentience. And then Ananda. What is that? Now, now, now. And this is what is Nityam. Because all the other negations earlier, adrishyam, agrahyam, agotram, avaranam, achakshushrothram, apanipadam, all that negated, then the doubt will come. Atma is a big zero. Here I thought I was the hero, at least of my household, but the hero has turned into Bada zero, big zero. So to prevent that, the word Nityam is brought in. Nityam. Right now, I am. And right now, we'll take a break. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. If there are any questions, write down in 15